What's up, all you good sports fans out there? It's your boy FLAh, doing what I do best. I don't know, staying out of sight, out of mind. This week we ain't gonna go through a bunch of my personal life or my music or anything like that. There's no need for it. We talked about it last week. If you want to recap on all that, just go back to last week and on YouTube, and you'll see what was going on. We're just going to jump right into week 10 of football. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things. The first thing I want to touch on, obviously, is this controversy brewing down in Miami. And the reason I'm going to touch on this is because I think there's something being really missed throughout all of this that needs to be discussed. I know that Jay Glazer is going to sit down with Incognito today on NFL Live. We'll see what that all plays out to be. But to be honest with you, I think that these Miami football players that are backing Incognito in this whole mess, I think it plays into a larger picture, and that is our ability to tolerate stupidity, ignorance, and immaturity. These men make millions of dollars to play a professional sport. This isn't high school. This isn't college. By the way, Incognito, you were kicked off not one, but 2 college teams because you're so ignorant and immature. So what goes on in a professional football locker room should not be subject to the ethics and morals of our society. Sickens me, and it's disgusting, and it needs to stop. No, rookies aren't supposed to go through this hazing, and that's just supposed to be acceptable. We're all supposed to be adults, professionals. And if you can't be an adult and you can't be a professional, then you take what you get coming to you. Period. Whether it's being sued, kicked off the team, or losing your millions. But to sit here and try to candy coat, it's wrong. Just because one man thinks it's okay for you to drop the N-bomb, and I don't think that Pouncey was too happy about it, or Heartline trying to stick up for Incognito, you guys are ignorant. Grow up. It's professional football. Start acting like it. If a man doesn't want to have something happen to him, you don't have to have it happen to him. Incognito, you're no leader. We're hearing these reports of this woman that you assaulted and embarrassed at a golf outing. All these reports coming out, these videos, and the Miami, Dolphins teammates still want to stick up for you. You guys need to grow up. Somebody needs to get some balls and put a foot up Incognito's backside, and that's it. But you guys don't want to. Oh, it goes on in the locker room, stays in the locker room. Well, this ain't don't ask, don't tell. This is professionalism. There's millions and millions of dollars at stake. I think each and every one of you need to slap each other across the face and grow up. This is stupid. I'm not saying that what Martin did was right. Maybe he could have handled it different. But when you're being assaulted verbally and physically, and you stand up for yourself, all of a sudden you're supposed to be the bad guy? Last time I checked, this was America, and we have rights around here. People need to grow up. Start acting like adults. You're not in college anymore. You're not in high school. Act like it. If you can't, go find a job at McDonald's. See how long you last there, Incognito. Go get a job in the real world. See how long you last with that stupid attitude of yours. You won't. I'm not going to let you put me in a bad mood. Who's really put me in a bad mood this week is Will Muschamp. You got to go, bro. Your defense sucks. You have no offense. If you look at the average score of an SEC team, East or West, you suck. I don't know what your problem is. But if we continue to let that man sit down there in Florida and ruin that program for the next 3, 4, 5 years with his recruiting that's obviously no good, Florida gets what it has coming to them. And I don't like that, because I'm one of the biggest Florida Gator fans on the face of the earth. Got them tattooed on my back. It's got to stop. This is the worst record. This is the worst team, Florida Gator football team I've seen in my lifetime. You know, and I'm not going to tell you guys how old I am, but a lot of people do know I'm in my 30s. You know, I'm not going to tell you where in my 30s, but I'm an older person, and I've never seen anything like it. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace to the boosters and the fans. They have that shell out hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars every year to watch a program that's been the pride of the SEC for at least the last 10, 15, 20 years. Some of the greatest historical coaches ever. Urban Meyer, you know, the old ball coach, Spurrier. And we got to put up with this. I made a tweet yesterday, and I still stand by it. I'd rather have Ron Zook there, and I hate Ron Zook. Ron Zook was a bum. But you guys need to do something about that. You guys need to get your act together down there, and let's, you know, send your hottest sorority members or something down to John Gruden's house or something. There's a lot of better options than Will Muschamp. Will Muschamp, if you want to be a D coordinator and work on just D, I could understand. But what you're doing right now to my program is a terrible thing. And I'm sick of it. So, hashtag Muschamp must go is what Twitter needs to fill up with. And I'll be checking on that too. Hashtag Muschamp must go. And I'll be checking on that hashtag every single day. There's a lot of good things going on in sports right now. We got college basketball starting up. Again, I'll speak on my Gators for just a second. And, you know, they're very injured, and we got a lot of issues going on. They're not really looking like a top 10 team. As a matter of fact, if I wake up tomorrow and see that they're still ranked in the top 10, it's disgusting. You guys need to get your act together down there, you know. Let's play some basketball. Let's play some sports. Do what you're there to do, and that'll be the end of it. I'm not a big Kentucky fan, and I think that Calipari, everywhere he's gone, has done nothing but destroy programs and destroy young men's lives by not giving them the tools they need to be men. You know, just because you're a sports coach doesn't mean that you have to lack in the ability of creating men and not just arrogant, pompous asses that end up going to professional sports and not doing much at all. Your record for putting out professional athletes is not that high. You put them out there, but they're not amounting to anything. Jalen Rose, you know, obviously an exception. There's always an exception to every rule. But I'd like to see. I think Mike Krzyzewski and his team is going to have a big chip on their shoulder all year long. All this talk about Kentucky and the crap that, you know, he puts out every year, you know, one and done teenagers, is pathetic and disgusting. And I think that the NCAA basketball higher-ups hierarchy needs to really look at the way business is being done in some of these schools. The recruiting is pathetic. You're just trying to recruit people to come to school for a year and then become millionaires, and that's not right. That's not what college basketball, it's not what amateur athletics is all about. And it's about time for that to be over with. So I'm not going to really get in too deep about who I think is going to do what in NCAA basketball. Obviously, I think the SEC is going to be halfway decently strong with a couple good teams. I'd like to see what happens with my Gators once they all get healthy and put an actual team on the court instead of the crap I had to watch Friday, because that was just pathetic. So we'll see what's going on. There's going to be a lot of good Big Ten teams this year. Michigan State, obviously. Ohio State's going to be good. I'm going to keep an eye on that freshman down there in Arizona. He's looking pretty nice. But we'll see how the year plays out there. I'm also going to touch on hockey. What's his name? Steen. Unbelievable. Blues are doing unbelievable. St. Louis Blues are better than I thought they were going to be. Obviously, I'm a Red Wing fan, as a lot of people know. You know, shout out to my boys up in Detroit. You know how y'all doing. But we'll see how that plays out in the end. But right now, the NHL is really tough, and the Blues are looking good. Florida was looking pretty decent at the beginning of the year. Tampa Bay, you know, they got a couple good teams down there. So we'll see what happens with that. And as this season kind of wraps up in the NFL, which I like to mainly focus on, football being my favorite sport, I'll dig deeper into hockey and obviously NCAA basketball. Once the conference schedules start, you'll hear a lot more about that going on as well. So we'll dig into that a little bit later. So there's my little rant for the week. Let's go ahead and dig into these scores for the week. Obviously, I picked Washington Thursday night, and it wasn't a disappointing game. It kind of sucked to see them on the goal line stand and lose. Obviously, I think anytime you make one of your final plays to be in the right corner of the end zone and the left corner, or sideline of the end zone to be your final two plays, or two of your final three plays, I don't understand it, and it was stupid, But that just goes to the larger picture of Shanahan maybe needing to make some staff moves and get a better offensive coordinator, but I don't think he needs to go. He's putting out a great product, and as long as Griffin is putting up with him, I don't think he should go anywhere. But we'll see how that plays out. Let's jump right in here to this week, starting with my Eagles and Packers. Not my Eagles, but the Eagles and Packers. I don't really care for either team, but I knew the Packers were obviously going to lose last week to Chicago. I didn't expect Aaron Rodgers to get hurt, but that's not going to help him either. Nick Foles is doing insane right now, and who knows if they're going to bring Vic in. I think if they're smart, they'll leave Vic on the bench until it's obvious that Foles is overwhelmed. He's playing out of his mind right now. He almost broke, Peyton Manning's touchdown record, the same year that Peyton Manning broke it. So I'm going to watch out for this Eagles team going forward. That NFC East is so wide open, and it could almost end up being like the NFC West was last year, where a team with a losing record could actually be, to win the division or, end up in the playoffs. So the Eagles aren't dead. I picked them to win this week mighty handily. Without Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers aren't anything. So we'll see how that plays out. I liked what I saw with the Steelers, but the Patriots defense can make anyone look halfway decent. I'm going to still pick the Bills over the Steelers this week. If Fred Jackson is halfway healthy, he should put up some big yards against that terrible cotton curtain of Steeler defense that they have out there. So we'll see how that turns out. The Jags and the Titans, believe it or not, I really want to pick the Jaguars. I can't see them really going on 16, but the Titans are playing out of their mind. As long as you have a running back that's probably one of the fastest human beings on earth, it's hard to count you out, especially with a team that's 0-8 and obviously has no defense and looks like they're putting a high school product on the field down there in Jacksonville. I'm going to have to go with the Titans. The Raiders and Giants is going to be a close game. I picked the Raiders last week, and believe it or not, I'm going to pick the Raiders again this week. It might be they're kind of my any week now. They're going to upset somebody, and the Giants are crappy. Who knows how they're going to really end up this year, but I'm going to run with Terrell Pryor. He's really opening up this year, and he's showing that he can not only do it with his arm, but he can do it with his legs. So I'd really like to see how he pans out. If he doesn't make it this year, I'm sure next year is even going to be better with some good draft picking for the Raiders. So I'm going to go with the Raiders over the Giants, and it's not because I hate the Giants and the Mannings. I really do believe that they're trying to put a product on the field down there in California or over there in California. So we'll see how that plays out. Seahawks and Falcons. Seahawks, obviously, they're probably one of the best teams in the NFL. They have the best defense in the league, period, hands down, the best secondary in the league. And the Falcons, I don't know why you guys picked up broken on down, Steven Jackson, but you did, and you guys deserve what you get. You had no business tinkering with your formula, and you did, and you're paying the price. Give me the Seahawks over the Falcons. Bengals and Ravens. The Bengals are, Andy Dalton is really doing something down there. And the Ravens are still in their Super Bowl lull, and they lost a lot of defensive players, and the defensive players they do have are just old vets, with big mouths. So I'm gonna ride with Cincinnati. I think they pretty much own that division right now, and I don't see anything changing. Lions and Bears. That's going to be a good game. I'm going to have to go with the Lions, and I say that only because I have a feeling they're going to do something stupid like bring Jay Cutler back this week, and I don't think that's a smart idea. I think that he needs a couple more weeks, and he definitely doesn't need to see Ndamukong Suh his first game back. And Matt Stafford ain't doing too bad. He's obviously got better numbers this year than Jay Cutler has, so we'll see how that plays out. But I'm going to pick the Lions over the Bears, Colts over the Rams, the Scams. Being from the St. Louis area, I know firsthand that the St. Louis organization has never really, they've tried more to build up the name of that team by bringing in one or two stars and get the money, but they're not really putting a good product on the field, so I can't really roll with the Rams, especially not against the Colts, especially not in Indianapolis. Andrew Luck is Andrew Luck, and Sam Bradford is, whoever we put out there, for a quarterback, it don't matter. The Colts all day long. Panthers and 49ers, that's going to be a hell of a game, and I'm going to have to go with the Panthers. The 49ers defense is really good. They're looking really good, and these are two playoff teams. But right now, Cam Newton has got that team rolling, and Colin Kaepernick is still trying to, again, pick up from his Super Bowl lull. So give me the Panthers over the 49ers. That Chargers-Broncos game is going to be interesting. It being in San Diego might make a difference, and the San Diego secondary is starting to look a little decent, but obviously anytime you got Peyton Manning playing like he was just stepped out of college again, it's going to be hard to overlook the fact that the Broncos are probably going to win that game. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Broncos, even though in the back of my mind I have a feeling that's going to be a much closer game than people think, but we'll see. So Broncos over Chargers. The Cardinals and the Texans. Cardinals have a defense that I think people are really underestimating this year. I don't really care. Carson Palmer is going to always be Carson Palmer. He could have 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's just how he is. But he's going to try to make the play. He's got a big, explosive arm. And outside of having Andre Johnson, what do they have? Especially with Arian Foster being hurt right now for the rest of the year. The Texans are just kind of, I put them kind of in the same boat that I put the Atlanta Falcons in, not because of formula changes, but just because of the fact that they can't never keep a team healthy. If Andre Johnson isn't hurt, Arian Foster's hurt. They got to really figure that out. They have a good running back core. I can't think of that guy's name. It's not Tate, but there's another running back that's just, I can't. It's too early in the morning for me to think super clearly right now, but they're still going to have a good running team, but the Cardinals defense is just going to keep them at bay. Cowboys and Saints, that's going to be a one heck of a game. I think in the end that Tony Romo throws too many interceptions and Drew Brees doesn't. And I think that's going to be the telltale sign of the game. So give me the Saints over the Cowboys, and I'm talking about like by a field goal. It's going to be a really good game, and it's going to come down to the last time the Cowboys had a close game, and Tony Romo's going to throw an interception, and that's going to be it. So Saints over Cowboys, Bucks and Dolphins. As much as I'm disgusted with the Miami Dolphin organization right now and the fact that you're proving just how ignorant and immature you guys are down there, the Bucks, played one heck of a game against Seattle last week. I'm going to give it to the Bucks. there's just enough dysfunction in Miami, and you're playing in Tampa Bay, which really doesn't mean much. But give me the Bucks. I think the Bucks will play a halfway decent, game tomorrow. They're starting to come around a little bit. Glennon is trying to do his best down there. Mike Glennon, who is their quarterback in Tampa Bay right now, he's doing a halfway decent job. So we'll see how it turns out. But those are really my picks for the week. I don't want to get too much into any other, stuff going on. Hopefully, this year will turn out to cause some interesting things in NCAA football. Obviously, Alabama won yesterday, which I don't see them losing to anyone but Missouri in the SEC championship game. With Oregon losing the way they did, I still see Florida State and probably Missouri playing for the national championship, and it's going to really tick Ohio State off, but Ohio State isn't really playing anyone, and that's the problem with Big Ten football is they just beat each other up, and then they play a week, out of conference schedule, which kind of always hurts them in the end when it comes to an undefeated team versus a one-loss SEC team. You're always going to take the one-loss SEC team because the talent and the out-of-conference schedules are always a little bit tougher. So I'm still sticking with my Florida State and Missouri for the national championship, and I think Florida State's going to beat the crap out of Missouri because Florida State's really that good this year. They got Matty Mock and I'm going to start naming names and forget the other guy. The quarterback that's injured, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But they've got a good two-quarterback system down there, and it's going to bite a lot of teams. You saw what they did to Wake Forest yesterday, and that's going to continue. I still think that Northern Illinois should be ranked higher. They're still undefeated, and they're still looking good. And I think you guys need to watch out for Baylor. Baylor's going to make a lot of noise too, and that could be interesting. But they still got to play Texas. They still got to play Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. So we'll see how they end up. But if they keep rolling like they keep rolling, you might hear my attitude change here in the next 2-3 weeks. But we'll see what happens. So you guys enjoy your day. I've been ranting for almost 25 minutes now, and that's just because there's a lot of stuff going on. But guys, enjoy your day. God bless. Get ready for the new album. It'll be out soon. And I don't know. Love y'all. Have a good day. Peace.